The city never sleeps, lights blink in towers that touch the clouds, and luxury cars slide across wet asphalt like silverfish through an endless ocean of wealth. Yet, in that same city where fortunes are made in minutes, some people vanish into the background, invisible, unheard, unnoticed. One such man stood beneath a flickering street lamp, his hair messy, his clothes torn, and his face covered in dust. To the world, he was just another homeless stranger. But beneath that disguise was Ryan Blake, one of the richest men in the country, a self-made millionaire who had built an empire in real estate, technology, and luxury brands. But tonight, none of that mattered. He had chosen to leave it all behind, the mansion, the cars, the servants, to walk among those he had ignored for years. If I lose everything tomorrow, Ryan had once wondered, who will I become? The question haunted him, and so he decided to find the answer, not from boardrooms or bankers, but from the streets. For 7 days, he would live like the poorest man alive, unseen and unknown, and discover what kindness truly means. By the third night, hunger had gnawed at his stomach like a wild dog. The rich perfume of nearby restaurants taunted him, and his hands trembled from cold. He wandered through alleys searching for warmth, but doors slammed when he knocked. Rain soaked his clothes, and exhaustion blurred his vision. His millions couldn't save him now. No one recognized the men who once signed paychecks for thousands. At a lonely corner near an old market, Ryan collapsed against a wall. His breath came out in short gasps as he looked at the dim lights of a small house across the street. Inside, through a half-broken window, he saw a woman and a little girl sitting at a small wooden table. The woman looked tired, her hands rough from labor, her apron stained from work. The child, perhaps 8 years old, was folding paper stars, humming a soft tune. Steam rose from a simple pot of soup. The smell of lentils and bread reached him, stirring something deep inside. But Ryan looked away. He wasn't here to beg, he wanted to understand life as it truly was. Still, his body betrayed him. A violent cough shook his chest, echoing across the empty street. The woman inside turned her head instantly. "Maya," she said softly to her daughter, "someone's outside." She walked to the door, wrapped in an old shawl, and stepped into the rain. Her eyes searched the darkness until they fell on Ryan. "Sir, are you all right?" she asked. Ryan looked up, trying to speak, but his throat was dry. I'm fine, just a little cold." The woman frowned, noticing his trembling hands. "You'll die out here," she said quietly. "Come inside." Ryan hesitated. "I don't want to trouble you, miss." She smiled, a smile that had known pain but still chose kindness. "It's no trouble. My mother used to say, when you see someone hungry, don't ask if they deserve food, just feed them." He followed her inside, humbled. The warmth of the small kitchen wrapped around him like a forgotten memory. The little girl looked up from her stars and smiled shyly. "Mama, is he hungry?" "Maybe," the mother replied, ladling soup into a bowl. "Would you like some?" Ryan's throat tightened. "You shouldn't waste your food on me." "It's not a waste," she said, placing the bowl before him. "It's a blessing." He took a small sip, and tears filled his eyes. It wasn't the taste, it was the love. The simple act of sharing what little she had cut through all his pride. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Ryan," he said after a pause. "Just Ryan." "I'm Clara," she said, smiling. "And this is my daughter, Lily." Lily waved, her small fingers smudged with ink from her paper stars. "Hi, Mr. Ryan. Want to make a star with me?" Ryan chuckled for the first time in days. "I'd love to." Hours passed like minutes. Clara spoke about her life, how she cleaned houses during the day and stitched clothes at night to pay rent. Her husband had died 3 years ago, leaving her to raise Lily alone. Yet she never complained. Her eyes shone with faith stronger than any wealth Ryan had ever known. As the clock struck midnight, Ryan watched the two of them, the woman and her daughter, sharing laughter despite hunger, hope despite hardship. He thought of his mansion filled with silence, his dinner table with 10 empty chairs, and realized he had never truly lived. Before sleeping on the small couch, Ryan whispered to himself, "They have nothing, yet they give everything." The next morning, he helped Clara fetch water, fix a leaking roof tile, and carry groceries from the market. People who had ignored him before still sneered, assuming he was just another beggar. But Clara didn't care, and neither did Lily. On the 5th day, Ryan offered to pay for some supplies. Clara laughed. You have no money, remember? He smiled. Maybe not today. But someday, I'll repay you. She shook her head. Just promise you'll help someone else when you can. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He looked at Clara and Lily sleeping peacefully on the floor beside the small heater. His eyes glistened. They don't even know who I am, he thought. But they've shown me more humanity than all the rich men I've ever met. The week passed, and Ryan knew it was time to return to his real life. As dawn broke, he stood quietly near the door. He left a small folded paper star on the table, the one Lily had taught him to make. Inside it, he slipped a note that said, "True wealth is not in gold, but in hearts like yours. Thank you for saving me." He stepped outside, walking back into the world that once called him, "Sir."